What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is why so few Americans live in this huge area in the middle of the country. We did do a video on this, didn't we?
We did.
Oh, not too long ago, I don't think. I think it was by the real life law, wasn't it?
I think it was about a week ago for us, but I think
Oh, no, it was a lot longer than a week ago.
You think?
I think it was like a month ago at least.
I don't remember.
Minimum a month ago. I think it was by the real life.
We've not done videos for about 4 days because we've been away, so
Yeah, like
everything's a week ago.
We've been away, so everything's merged into one, hasn't it? But hopefully you enjoy the content while I've been away. Smash that subscribe button because we made sure we got enough videos for you legends. But we did a video on this and it gave us a lot of in-depth about the agriculture and stuff like that. However, we did a video on tornadoes with this guy before, didn't we? And he gave us new stuff.
Hopefully.
So hopefully he's going to give us some new stuff on this.
Yeah.
So we decided, because this channel is a new channel, but it's doing absolutely awesome. It seems like an awesome guy as well, and we're really enjoying it. So smash that subscribe button, His link is in the description below. And are you ready?
Yes.
Let's check it out. Why so few Americans live in this huge area in the middle of the country. What we got?
The United States is one of the largest countries in the world in terms of both size and population.
Yep.
But
Huge.
the United States population is not evenly distributed across the country. And while most people live on either the eastern half of the country or the west coast, there's a really large belt of land in the middle of the country that is almost entirely empty. Here's why.
Yeah, I think the other video was more why people live on that side and not just that middle bit, you know what I mean? So I think we're going to learn something new.
Yeah.
Geography by Jeff, what we got?
Hello and welcome to Geography by Jeff. Now, if you've ever seen this photo, you'll no doubt know that most of the population and infrastructure is concentrated in the eastern half of the United States. But while that's an interesting story unto itself, what we're going to talk about today is a really large swath of land that runs from the northern border of Canada down to the southern border with Mexico that relatively few people live in.
Okay.
Before we can talk about the United States empty belt, we have to first talk a little bit about the country's population distribution at large. The United States as a whole is very concentrated on the eastern half of the country. In fact, there's basically a line you can draw across the country that splits the contiguous United States in half. On the eastern side of this line, roughly 80% of the country's population lives,
Wow.
and on the other, roughly 20%. And the reason for this is largely due to a confluence of factors that includes the natural geography and where the United States began its existence.
Okay.
In both of these cases, the eastern half of the country is geographically less challenging, but at the same time, it's also where the United States was first settled when it began as a series of colonies derived from the British Empire. This led towards an earlier and easier development of the land beginning on the East Coast. From there, the United States gradually expanded west. Beginning in 1803, the United States acquired a huge area of land from France that included much of the modern Midwestern region of the country. This purchase also aligned nicely with the Mississippi River watershed, a region so vast in its quantity of fresh water that it not only allowed for relatively easy irrigation of agricultural land, but it also allowed for trade and travel by ship.
Yeah,
the combination of easy agriculture and easy transportation was a recipe for rapid development. At around the same time, development began to spur along the west coast as well. San Francisco, for example, was officially incorporated in 1850, just 13 years after the city of Chicago. Los Angeles was incorporated in 1850 as well, and Portland, Oregon in 1851. The point being that
didn't take too long for it. I know 13 years sounds like a long time, but that's a massive part of land.
It is.
So to then get over there, name it a city, form it a city, you know what I mean? That's not too long, 13 years.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not too long.
Let us know in the comments if maybe it is, but I don't think it is.
That development on the West Coast was not all that far behind the Midwest region, but it was stymied by the lack of quick and reliable transportation. Basically, these cities were left to fend for themselves for much of their early existence and relied primarily on natural resource boom and bust cycles to drive early populations of people. This would include the 1849 gold rush to Northern California. As the decades wore on and transportation and livability technologies improved, other major cities have been developed and established as major population centers throughout the middle of the country. Boise, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, and Denver all incorporated between 1860 and 1900. From there, the western half of the country began to develop and population grew steadily. But while that's all well and good, there's been one area of the United States that hasn't grown all that much. This large belt that cuts the contiguous United States in half. The population distribution of a country is always an interesting story. If one specific region is growing faster than others, there's a story behind that. Likewise, if a region is relatively underpopulated, there's also a story behind that. But before we dive into why the United States has such a large underpopulated belt, if you're enjoying this video, now would be a great
Smash
time
that
to
subscribe button
subscribe.
here.
More fun what if geography videos are just a single click away.
Underpopulated. He does make a
Nowhere
good point
else-
though. There's always a reason why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to Texas at the moment. There has to be a reason why.
Yeah.
People are apparently leaving California. There has to, do you know what I mean? It doesn't just happen. It's not like a coincidence.
No,
Like
there's got to be a reason.
there's a reason behind there. So
Yeah.
there is always a story. And like the whole West isn't as populated because it's harder terrain and it was less developed
Yeah.
anyway. Makes sense. So this little bit of sliver, what's wrong with it?
Well,
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, it seems weird.
It does seem weird.
In the rest of the contiguous United States is there such a large connected piece of land that is so relatively empty. The entire area stretching from the Canadian border to the Mexican border is just about 350,000 square miles.
Wow.
To put this number in
Still quite a
perspective,
lot.
It is.
if this area was its own state, it would be larger than any current existing state aside from Alaska,
Wow.
which is about 570,000 square miles.
Alaska's
All
different
told,
gravy.
it makes up approximately 12% of the contiguous United States. But while its size is vast, that's only half the picture. The total population of this belt is just 3.1 million people, or less than 1% of the United States' total population. That's almost equal to the same size as the metropolitan
Wow.
area of Denver, Colorado, which we'll get to in a
Hardly
little bit.
anyone.
In every
It's
other region
crazy.
of the contiguous United States, multiple major population centers will break up the otherwise expansive rural farms, mountains, or forests. And that's not to say there aren't any population centers, but they're still fairly small. The largest population centers within the belt are Lubbock, Texas, Amarillo, Texas, Midland, Texas, Abilene, Texas, Rapid City, South Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, San Angelo, Texas,
Texas.
and
Texas.
Odessa, Texas.
Yeah, there's a lot of Texas cities in there. And there is quite a lot of cities, to be fair, which have a bit of population. But I just can't get in my head. I've just got the, is it the wait Amarillo?
Yeah.
Ever since
Yeah,
that's
I
in my
know.
head from Peter
Which
Kay.
is like English, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as you said Amarillo, I'm like, is it the way in my head?
From there, population within cities and towns starts to drop quickly. And if you're noticing a trend here, you're right. Texas has the vast majority of the belt's population. And there's a few reasons for that.
You did say that.
I did.
So we've established that, for its size and geographic position within the United States, the belt is definitely underpopulated. The only question now is, why? As with most things, there's never really a single answer. Instead, it's a confluence of things that form to create the present day scenario.
Okay.
In this case, we have roughly 3 reasons why this belt has been left so underpopulated, stretching even into 2022. The first and most prominent reason likely lies within a few Native American tribes that put up some of the fiercest resistance to the US military at the time.
Oh, wow.
Within this belt of land lies 5 historic tribes: the Sioux tribe, Cheyenne tribe, Kiowa tribe, Comanche tribe, and the Apache tribe. These tribes all tirelessly and with great effort attempted to stop the US military and US settlers from encroaching on their lands.
That does make sense.
By the
Yeah.
late 1800s, the tribes were, unfortunately, decimated and forced to relocate to reservations. But by that time, development within much of the western half of the country had already outpaced this region in particular,
So it
leading
skipped
to
them.
it already
Yeah.
being well underdeveloped. While indigenous tribes putting up resistance was certainly a contributing factor during the early years of settlement, it doesn't account for why the land wasn't heavily developed afterwards. And much of this is due to the effect the Rocky Mountain Range has on the area immediately to the east of it.
Okay.
You see, the Rocky Mountains create what is called a rain shadow effect, wherein moisture is built up on the western side, precipitation is dropped throughout the range, and then nothing is left for the eastern side.
It's
This
dry,
creates
isn't
an
it?
area that is mostly either arid or otherwise downright cold. According to the Köppen climate method of determining climate across geographies, this particular belt is 64% arid steppe or arid deserts, 28% cold and dry climate, and only 8% temperate. This
Not
means
much
that
living,
any
is
sort of
there?
real agriculture, a primary motivator for settling in the 1800s and early 1900s, was very limited. But there's one more thing that still stymies population moving to this region:
Okay.
wild temperature fluctuations. If you've ever heard about an area going
so
from
pretty.
about 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 30 degrees Fahrenheit in the course of a single day,
In a day.
it's probably from this particular region or
In a
close to
day.
it.
It's just
And this largely
madness.
has to do with the continentality of this area in particular, which allows for polar wind to drop into the region fairly quickly, similar to what we saw happen very recently. All that's to say, weather is a huge reason people do or do not move to someplace. And this
Oh, that's
region does
mad.
not have mild
That's
weather.
crazy.
Nope.
I just for a second. That is so. In theory, they've got a snowplow. We don't see this kind of stuff in the UK,
No.
so this is quite amazing to us. A snowplow, which you will get in the UK, is obviously push it to the side. But then you guys have a machine to kick it out and kick. I like that.
Kick it into the truck.
Kick it into the truck to just completely get rid of it. Wow, that's impressive, isn't it? I've never seen anything like that as well.
Place. And this region does not have mild weather. No country in the world is equally distributed, and most people move for economic reasons.
Yeah.
If a city or region is growing or shrinking, it's likely due to the economy. For the belt, there's just not a whole lot of reasons for people to move there, and there are active aspects such as the weather and climate that actively prevent people from moving there. For those reasons, the area will likely remain underpopulated well into the future. I hope you enjoyed learning.
Good. I like geography, Jeff.
There's a lot of other facts that other people don't put in.
There's other facts what people don't put in, but you get straight to the point. There's not this kind of spiel in the middle where potentially it gets a bit confusing.
It says it how it is.
Says it how it is. You understand. You learn a bit more. And that one was a little bit different to the other one anyway, because it weren't just focusing on the West. It was focusing on that belt, wasn't it?
Just the belt, yeah.
Which didn't have much population. We learned about a few cities as well. That was good.
It was interesting. Yeah.
Smash that button if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button as well. Geography Jess has other videos, so if you want to check it out, let us know in the comments below. Any other videos you want to check out, let us know as well. We'd really appreciate it. And what should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we will see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.